Hey guys, and welcome to the Delta Review. Today we're going to be reviewing my current favorite game, Race for the Galaxy by Tom Lehman. Race for the Galaxy, if you guys know Puerto Rico or San Juan, this is going to be very easy for you to learn. If not, it'll be okay. But in Race for the Galaxy, it's got a really awesome mechanic of choosing actions for people, and then everybody does those actions, and using cards to do all this. But let's open up the box and see what you get inside. Well, what do you get in Race for the Galaxy? I want to start off by saying that this video is only going to go over a quick overview of how the game is played, meaning just how the action and turn phases go. I'm not going to go into the iconology of the cards, meaning all the symbols on the cards or any of that. I'm just going to go over how the turn works, and then I'm going to have a second video to have what all the cards mean. So on your turn, or on the turn beginning of race, everybody is going to choose one of the action cards that they have in their hand and play it face down. Once everybody's done that, they flip over that phase, and then whichever phases have been chosen, everybody does those phases. What I mean by that is that there's 5 phases in the game. So say if one person chooses the first, second person chooses the second, and the third person chooses the third in a 3-player game, then on that round, only the first 3 phases are going to be done. 4 and 5 wouldn't be done this turn. If next turn somebody chose 1, 1, and then 4, then only the first phase and the 4th phase will be done. That's how that's the big mechanic of the game that is kind of hard to grasp. So once you get that concept, then the rest of the game kind of flows ahead. Now let's go ahead and explain the cards, the actions that you get. The first phase is the Explore phase. This is the very first phase. What this phase is it lets you get more cards. So there's 2 different types of Explore, which are the 2 different benefits of the card. The basic action of the Explore is you draw 2 cards and you keep 1 and discard 1. It keeps getting your hand bigger. Now the two benefits of the Explorers is there's a +1/+1 Explore. This one lets you draw 3 cards and keep 2. So it lets you have more. Or it lets you keep more cards, but you don't get as big of a selection. And then you have Explore +5, which lets you draw 7, but only keep 1. So it lets you have a bigger selection of cards, but you only get to keep 1 of those. So those are the 2 benefits of those. The next card is the Development card. So this is the second one. This lets you build developments on that phase. The way that developments work is that developments are coded by a diamond, a tan diamond, in the upper left-hand corner. That's what that is. That's the developments. The way that you pay for the developments is that you discard that many cards from your hand. So, for instance, the Space Marines or missionaries, whatever it is. It's a one development. So with that, you discard 1 card in order to play that card in your tableau. And during the game, you're going to have just this invisible mat of 12 cards, and you keep playing 12 cards in your tableau. And one of the ways the game ends is when somebody has built 12 cards in their tableau. That's one way. So again, developments are the diamond cards in the upper left-hand corner, and to buy those, you have to discard 1 card, or discard that many cards from your hand in order to play it. The benefit from choosing the development is that you have a -1 to the cost. So if I played the development that turn, I could play this 1 development for free and just play it down in my tableau. So it's a good way of getting cards out pretty fast. Now probably the hardest one to understand is maybe not, is settle. It's just a lot to explain. Settling is where you settle worlds. Now worlds are symbolized by circles. And there are 2 types of worlds. There are non-military, which is coded in black, and there are military, which is coded in red. So you have a military world and a non-military world. And then these 2 are, whichever one you're choosing is paid for in a different way. The non-military, the black one, just like the development cards, are discarded from your hand. So anything that's in black, basically, you have to discard that many cards from your hand. So this asteroid belt right here is a 2. And so you have to pay 2 cards for that in order to play it on your field. Now military is done by having military points gained in your tableau. So, for instance, some of the iconology on the cards has a plus military icon on it. You would add however much military you have in your tableau, and if that number is equal to or greater than the cost of the card, then you can play that card down for free. So you can play a lot of military down without having to discard many cards, which is the benefit of playing a military strategy. Then there's two types of worlds amongst those two. There's production worlds. Now there is a production world or there is a windfall world. This is the way of getting goods in your tableau that you can either sell or consume later on in the turn for points or cards. Now the first one, the production world, this one is shown by a filled-in circle inside the world. This one, whenever somebody plays a produce action, which is the fifth action, that's when you can put goods on the card. Or that's when you put a good on the card, which is what the production worlds do. And the way that you symbolize that is that you draw one of the top cards from the top of the deck and put it on top of the production world, just to signify one good. Only one good can be on any world at a time, just FYI. The other one is a windfall world, which is symbolized by a halo around the world. This one comes onto the field with a good on it, but it's harder to produce those goods more because the produce action, which is the fifth phase again, those only produce on the production worlds. So, but the benefit of playing the produce is you can produce one on the windfall world. So you actually have to play the produce in order to get goods back on the windfall. So it's good, quick, fast goods if you want to consume them and can consume them really fast. So just for a quick overview of the worlds, there's two worlds: non-military, which are black; military, which are red. Non-military are paid for by discarding cards. Red is paid for by having enough military points in your tableau. Then there's the production worlds. The filled-in circle is the production world. The halo around the circle is the windfall world. The production worlds don't come on the field with a good, but they get a good every time any produce phase gets chosen. The windfall world, which is the one with the halo around the world, those come onto the field with a good, but it's harder to produce on them. Then the fourth action is the consume. This is how you either get points or goods. Now the basic consume action only says you have to consume as much as you can consume. So the ways that you have a way to consume is if on any of your cards, if they have a fourth action, which means the fourth phase has an icon on it, then you can consume. And I'll get into those in my second video. But just know that if you can consume, you have to consume if possible. Now the two benefits of the consume cards are basically what you play them for. The first one is trade. It's the trade phase. This lets you discard goods from your tableau, or a good, for cards. So on the good it tells you how much each type of good is worth, and you just discard that good from the world, and you draw that many cards to your hand. That's basically all trade does. And then after you trade, you can also consume. Then the second one is the consume ×2 VP card. Most of the consume actions will tell you to discard goods for either victory points or cards. If you have any of the consumes that let you consume for victory point chips, then you get double those that round. So this one, for instance, you would discard one good for one victory point. But if you played the consume ×2, you discard a good and get 2 victory points. The other way that the game can end is if all the victory point chips are gone, or have exceeded, basically. So that's what the consume does. So again, consume is the fourth phase, and it lets you discard goods from your tableau to get either points or cards. And then lastly, the fifth phase is the produce. And during this phase, you produce on every production world that can be produced on. And if you play the produce, you can produce on one windfall world. So that's a very, very fast overview of how the game is played. Again, on the beginning of the round, everyone chooses one of those 7 cards, one of those 7 actions, and puts it face down. Once everybody has done this, they flip it face up, and then whichever actions have been chosen, everyone at the table does those actions. If you play the action, then you get an additional benefit for it.